The action takes place in a vertical prison consisting of numerous cells stacked on top of each other. Some people are sent there by force, while others go voluntarily. Before moving in, each person selects one dish they are willing to eat every day and one item they are allowed to keep with them. One of the men, accused of attempting to set fire to his parents' house, chooses pizza and a lighter. On his first day in the cell, his pizza is eaten by a guy living on a higher level. When the man tries to take some other food, his neighbors from above stop him, insisting that this is not allowed. You can only eat your own dish or negotiate an exchange with someone. Those who eat others' food are called barbarians, while those who protect the law are called royalists. If the law is not followed, the lower levels will be left without food. The man decides to take someone else's food anyway, but his neighbor stops him, reminding him that he was lucky to wake up on level 24 this month. Next month, he might find himself at the bottom. The platform, the table, descends, and the neighbor introduces herself as Perempuan, while the other neighbor is called Zamyatin. The girl came here of her own free will to forget what she had done. Now they will have to share a cell despite the discomfort. One day there is an uproar, and it turns out that the food chain has been broken at level 44. In total, there are 333 levels. Zamyatin is informed that tomorrow the comrades from levels 19 and 20 will descend to level 21 to protect his pizza. Meanwhile, the people on levels 42 and 43 will check on level 4. That's how it works. The next day, sounds of a scandal are heard from above. There seems to be a serious fight on level 21. Suddenly, the platform starts moving, and the neighbors from above warn that if they can't handle the violators, Zamyatin will have to fight them himself. But the man pleads with those above to take his pizza and leave him alone. Nevertheless, the platform descends, and in the midst of a heap of food lies the body of the violator. A burning corpse of the neighbor from above falls down right after. Perempuan throws a blanket over the burning man, while the second neighbor from above regains consciousness and attacks the violator, but the violator fights back. Soon, it all ends. The unconscious violator is tied up, but everyone else remains hungry. Realizing that his burned friend has died, the neighbor from above declares that it is necessary to go down and find the anointed. These are the ones who were fortunate enough to meet the teacher who laid the foundations of the law. It is said that the teacher survived for a month without food on one of the lower levels, but after that, he ended up at the very bottom where food doesn't reach. He cut flesh from his own thigh to feed those in need, his anointed, who then began to spread his teachings about fair food distribution. However, Zamyatin is not eager to be an anointed. He just wants to eat, so why not try a piece of the burned man? The neighbor, realizing that something terrible might happen, throws the dead body into the pit. Next, the neighbor tosses the untouched food, explaining that it belongs to those who perished on the upper level. Therefore, it cannot be eaten. If Zamyatin wants to take it for himself, he must throw away his own dish. Only in this way can justice be maintained, as the death of a comrade cannot be a reward. At this moment, the violator regains consciousness. The neighbor declares that he hopes to find the anointed on level 44, and after ordering respect for the law, descends with the violator. Days go by, Perempuan and Zamyatin live by the rules and soon grow close enough that the girl helps him shave, and he shares his pizza with her. The last day of their stay on this level comes. Zamyatin confesses that he dedicated his life to mathematics. But after he learned about the imaginary unit, he no longer believes in anything. So he quit the university, left his family, and returned to his parents. After all, the imaginary doesn't exist and has no benefit. Their conversation is interrupted by a message that this month the food has reached level 170, which is a big success. The girl suggests dancing to celebrate this achievement. The next day, they wake up on level 180. The food chain has broken somewhere at level 169, and no one knows anything. Zamyatin hopes that the royalists will ensure order. Suddenly, a voice from below reminds him that the law is his love. The neighbors explain that his words are the result of not eating for 25 days on level 165. This terrifies Zamyatin. Perempuan assures him that they survived because they respected the law. But the man reminds her that that was on level 24. For the next several days, the platform comes down empty. Soon, Zamyatin starts considering voluntary departure, while Perempuan marks the days on the wall. One day, a head falls from above. Everyone around considers this a sign that the anointed are ridding the world of barbarians. Zamyatin feels worse and worse, despite his neighbor's assurances that the law is above all and relieves suffering. Perempuan takes care of the man, although she herself is losing strength. Heads keep falling, and Zamyatin grows weaker. Soon, news arrives that communication is lost only with levels 68 and 69. Order will soon come, but the anointed leading the resistance urges everyone to hold on and find the lame man and the cross-eyed woman who gorged themselves on level 176 last month. There is also a violator on level 24 who ate his comrades' dishes. Perempuan realizes that they are talking about Zamyatin and deceives the others by naming a completely different level. The man now insists that they follow the law to the letter, although he is sure he will die soon. He remembers that his family thought him undisciplined and selfish, and here too he broke the law. Therefore, he is ready to leave. He says goodbye and asks Perempuan, after her release, to visit his children and ask for forgiveness on his behalf. Then he sets himself on fire and throws himself down, leaving the lighter for his neighbor. The next day, Perempuan wakes up on level 51. Her new cellmate is a woman. Those living above report that everything is going well and there are no violators. Perempuan realizes that her neighbor is a newcomer and explains the rules of survival to her. Soon the platform, the table, descends, but her cellmate's dish is already gone. Perempuan tells her that she will be able to eat only tomorrow. Later, it turns out that the barbarian lives on level 54. Last month, he lived on level 2 and ate everything he could. Perempuan is ready to join in punishing him, but she is reminded of the rules. Only those directly adjacent to the violator's level fight first. She tells her neighbor about Zamyatin's death and shares her conclusion. The higher the level, the greater the responsibility. Otherwise, those below perish. In the morning, the prison wakes to screams. The notorious anointed has taken action and will not spare the guilty. Soon, the platform descends, and suddenly Perempuan's cellmate arms herself with a bed leg and suggests punishing the barbarian. Perempuan agrees immediately. They descend to the next level, where their neighbors are outraged by such a breach of rules. But understanding the women's determination, one of the men sends his neighbor with them, while he stays behind to maintain communication. They descend to level 54, where they immediately engage in a fight, as the barbarian doesn't want to surrender without resistance. Perempuan's cellmate is wounded, and the woman hits the barbarian with the bed leg while his neighbor, a feeble-minded boy, watches. The man begs Perempuan to let him go, claiming he just wanted to survive. She hesitates for a moment, and the platform immediately descends, taking the barbarian with it. Perempuan's cellmate screams, demanding not to let him go, and it becomes clear that she is not a newcomer. Later, the woman admits that she has been in the pit for 6 months. She believes the law is unfair because it protects the food with which they enter. She and her first cellmate always followed the law, but one day they found an emaciated boy and fed him with food left from an already dead person. Then the anointed came. Her partner resisted and managed to gouge out his eyes. The woman was tied to the platform and sent to a lower level where she was simply eaten. No one gets out of here alive. You can only escape during the interval. At the end of each month, the prison guards use gas to put people to sleep, and this is the only chance to descend. The appointed day arrives. Perempuan suggests taking the feeble-minded boy with them, but then the platform descends with the blind, anointed, and his people. He gathers everyone who participated in subduing the barbarian and thanks the fearless women who volunteered to be subduers. For this, today, they all receive food and wine, but as soon as people start eating, they are seized, as the rules are unbreakable. The anointed announces the harsh punishment of those who allowed the women to participate in the subduing, and Perempuan and her friend must have their hands cut off. The woman protests that the protector of the law should not be punished, but the anointed reminds her that one cannot break the law while defending it. Only fear keeps the barbarians in check. Then the seemingly feeble-minded boy suddenly reveals the women's plan to escape. The friends are tied up and lose their hands. Next, Perempuan wakes up on level 72, next to an elderly man. She advises him not to talk to anyone above or below, and he admits that he was on level 203. His allowed item is a knife. The girl asks to borrow it. She remembers her friend's words that they must descend. The pair eat well despite the protests of those above and descend to the next level, where Perempuan suggests uniting against the royalists. The lower neighbors are eager to join them. Further below, people try to stand up for the law, but Perempuan's supporters remind them that no one has the right to decide for everyone. And if they don't want to be punished by the anointed, they must unite, for people are born free and should not obey the royalists. The dissenters are killed. The rest join Perempuan. More and more people descend, and one day Perempuan chooses a level where they will stay and wait for the royalists. She sees among her followers the barbarian she let go, who caused her to lose her hand, but she remains silent. In the evening, people relax, eat what's left, sing, and love each other. In the morning, they hear the platform descending, but it turns out to be empty. The blind anointed from above announces that there will be no more food, and when they starve and weaken, the royalists will kill them. but he will show mercy if they hand over the ringleaders. Dissension begins among the rebels, but then everyone remembers those sitting below. After all, they are also the anointed's people, and they can simply eat them. Looking at those around her, Perempuan remembers how, after years of hard work, she managed to organize an exhibition of her sculptures, depicting the cruelty of the animal world. Her boyfriend came to it with his son and introduced them. The boy couldn't sit still, and among her works was a paw with blades for paws. The boy stumbled, and one of the blades pierced his eye, causing the child's death. The court ruled it an accident. Her works were bought for millions. She came to the pit to forget what she had done, as she didn't want to listen to advice. At this moment, the platform descends from above with the anointed's people, and a bloody fight begins. When almost everyone has died, Perempuan sees the wounded anointed, who asks her to finish what she started. But the girl offers to heal him and feed him his own flesh. Then he will be worthy of his teacher. She needs time to forgive herself, and so she leaves. Perempuan calls her neighbor, but he refuses. It was the best month of his life, but they are prisoners of themselves. Then, the woman, seeking to leave this hell, plugs her nose with pieces of cloth to avoid inhaling the sleep-inducing gas. Meanwhile, down on level 333, among the children living there, one boy is chosen. Perempuan pretends to be dead, hoping that the cleaners will take her to the top level, from where she can escape. She is loaded onto the platform, which descends to the very bottom, where the woman sees the guards laying a child on a pile of corpses. She reminds herself that she must escape, but her conscience does not allow her to leave the child. Perempuan tries to reach his bed, but hits her head, which proves fatal for her. The woman finds herself in the afterlife, where children act as guides for the inhabitants of this strange place to their final destination. She can still choose to leave herself or save the child. Perempuan stays, surrounded by the souls of her previously deceased comrades. Like the first platform, the sequel does not impose specific ideas or rules. It simply allows the audience to observe humanity at its best and worst. Here, everyone truly has their own truth. What seems logical and reasonable when you're on one of the upper floors loses all meaning when you find yourself lower down.